Ooh, hello everybody. How's it going? All right. We are here with the Northern Shield Academy. I am your host for the evening, Alex Kim, or I also go by Crispy Kim Donut. Chris, we are also joined by Chris Lama here. Um, Tell us what's been happening so far in Northern Shield Academy. It's been 6 weeks now, right?
Yeah, we're in our sixth week. You guys all know we opened up with our first week just like this with a live broadcast, and then we've done 5 weeks of coaching since then, and it's been so far so good. We've got quite a bit of signups, lots of people engaging with our academy on Discord and on Twitter, and people are already going home with lots of prizes. And we're here to give more away and give you guys some more valuable information today on content creation.
Yes. So today is week 6. We are hosting a panel on content creation and branding. So we will be joined by two others actually. I guess we'll bring them on and then we'll introduce them. So, all right. So first up, we have Cole Bereskin or Koslix.
Hello.
He is a pro Brawlhalla player. How's it going, Koslix?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for joining us. And then we are also joined by Ronaldo Villanueva, and he is from Memory Express. How's it going, Ronaldo?
It's good. It's great. I'm in a different time zone, but this is a perfect way to end my what day is it? Tuesday.
For sure. All right. So, thank you all for coming, and maybe we can start with a little bit of backgrounds on yourself. So, Chris Lama, I think most people should know, but if you wanna start, let's go there.
Awesome, yeah. Yeah, I'm one of the directors at Northern Shield Academy. I'm also the president at Parabellum Esports. Both of our teams work together, obviously. We've got the academy level with Northern Shield, where you're getting your coaching and your information. We also have academy level teams. And then we've got our professional team with Parabellum, where we have your higher level content creation creators, and you've got your professional players. That's
Awesome.
the Coles name.
All right. The cliff notes there. All
Yeah.
right, Koslix, what do you do?
So, as you said earlier, I'm a professional Brawlhalla player, but I more importantly do a lot of content creation in the Brawlhalla scene. I post like basically daily YouTube videos, and before the pandemic, I would travel around to tournaments and whatnot, and just you know meet people, compete, and just produce content.
Awesome. Valuable insights we're expecting from you today, Coslex. All
I'll try
right,
my
and
best.
Ronaldo. Sorry.
Hey, hey.
I'll try my best. Is what
Yeah,
I said.
sorry. Uh, so Ronaldo from Memory Express, please tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're coming from.
For sure. Yeah, I'm a my official title is National Community Manager for Memory Express. What that really breaks down to on a daily basis is two aspects of the department. One half is in esports, and the other half is in collegiate programs supporting post secondary schools, students, parents, that sort of thing. Outside of work, I'd say, more of a content creator than a gamer, but I do play Street Fighter, so bring it.
Ooh. And I heard you're pretty
That's
good
me.
too, so
Really? How'd you hear about that all the way in Ontario? Nah, you can tell me later. Tell
ooh,
me later.
ooh. All right. So let's get this panel started. You guys have sort of different experiences and things like that. So I just want to start with maybe Cole. You've spent a lot of time in content creation and really building up your brand through content creation. What do you think is the most important thing when you're thinking about becoming a successful content creator?
I think the first thing that you need to think about is you got to give the audience a reason to watch you. over anybody else, because there are thousands, maybe even millions of creators out there, and you need to build your brand around a competitive advantage. And a lot of people are like, hey, I'm not like talented, I can't do this. Well, no matter what you do, hard work can be that thing that makes you unique. So if you stream every day, like I can't even think of I can't think of anyone that streams every day. Or if you are super funny and you stream every day, you might not be the funniest, but you kind of you incorporate different skills, and that kind of creates that unique identity. So I would start with that, kind of build around that, and cater to whatever makes you unique. So in my example, I am a competitive player, so my YouTube videos will often center around that. Either I'm participating in like fun things with pros, or if I'm giving insight on like balance of the game, I'm really taking advantage of what makes me unique and just kind of using it to like my greatest extent to just build my brand and reach a bigger audience.
That is some fantastic advice, and stuff that you may hear a lot of, actually, advice from other content creators. I know, Ronaldo, you said you had experience in content creation as well, maybe not so much in gaming. Is it different to be sort of a content creator in a different space that's not necessarily gaming?
Yeah, I think I think in general there's a lot of different, or sorry, there's a lot of similarities. There's more similarities than differences in the general kind of sense of it. So if you do one thing as a gamer, and let's say you build up content based on gaming, and then you transfer to something else, say you also have an interest for travel, I'm gonna have to say that, yeah, a lot of those skills, the branding side of it and the content creation side of it, is very transferable to different niches. What's going to change though is what your content consists of, because obviously you're not going to do gaming when you talk to your audience who cares about travel. Chances are they're
Mm.
almost the opposite kind of people, right? So that side of it is very different, and knowing how to cater to your audience, and kind of what Cole said, is to have a unique angle, a unique value proposition. You're definitely still going to have to figure out the nuances within each possible niche or subcategory of your content.
For sure. And yeah, we're talking about content creation here, and there's a lot of different ways that content is created, a lot of different platforms that content is created for. And I think when we're sort of talking about content creation, we sort of see it as this sort of long form content, and that's not always the case. So maybe Chris Lama can speak to this a little bit, but what are your thoughts on, content creation through something that is not necessarily long form, but something like social media, TikTok, for example?
You nailed it with me, didn't you? Um, Yeah, for sure. For me, TikTok is my thing. You guys know that. And for me, it's accessible. It's easy to do. But obviously, it depends on what you're doing. If Cole was to start a TikTok, which I hope he already has,
I do have one.
he's going to be taking. You do have one. Good.
I
You're
do.
going to be taking those clips from those live streams that he talked about and from his YouTube videos, and he's going to be able to create short form content with those pieces and just continuously use them and recycle content. And that's the beautiful thing about short form, is we can recycle the content from our different social medias. And again, like I said before, it's accessible. It's more accessible and it's easier to consume than it is for YouTube. If you want to sit down and watch a 20 or 30-minute YouTube video, you need to put time into it. Or some people kind of not actively, they passively watch YouTube videos throughout the day, just having it running in the background or on the side screen, just like some people do with a Twitch stream. But as a content creator, trying to find out, like you guys said before, those niches and fitting them into those different aspects and different form content. Um, the more you're putting out onto different platforms, the more you're going to see yourself grow.
Hmm. So maybe a question for all of you guys. You guys can jump in here. Um, do you think like social media use and content creation go hand in hand? Does it always have to be like that? What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's start.
It goes hand
Yeah.
in hand. It goes hand in hand, because the goal with content creation is you're trying to build your audience and you're trying to reach more and more people. So the more social media platforms you're on, the greater the chance you're going to reach a larger demographic. And the goal is just one at a time, just get more and more people to know and recognize your brand. And like you need to be on multiple platforms. I can't think of any creators that are only on one platform and then grow from there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree with Cole there too.
Yeah.
I think what the distinction though that matters is knowing the most effective platforms. There's a strategy alone, like just within social media platforms itself. So Instagram is an obvious go-to if your content's focused on photos. Like there's no brainer, right? I think everyone at this point, with where things are going with social media, IG is just the champ when it comes to photo-based social media sharing. And other options, though, it's not about doing all of them. And I think this is what most people are overwhelmed with. They think they have to do like 6 platforms at the same time. The reality is, how are you supposed to spread your time across 6 platforms trying to create content for each one when you're just one person? And then there's
Mhm.
anomalies where some people just pick one platform, dominate that platform, and don't need anything else. So there's a lot of different philosophies that you can follow. And I think all you have to do is figure out what works with your work ethic, your time commitment, your resources, your skill set, all 4 of these combined. Now you can decide, okay, maybe YouTube's the platform for you. In addition to that, maybe Instagram, and maybe that's it. And then you can start to evolve and add more as you grow. But I don't think you need all. You don't have to do like a ton. But I do agree with Cole. If you do one platform alone, you're kind of selling yourself short unless you know exactly what you're doing.
Mhm.
100%.
For
I
sure.
love that.
The,
Nope. Frozen.
I'll go. Yeah. Um,
yeah, go ahead.
definitely being stuck down to one, I think you're losing opportunity to grow for sure. But a lot of the apps are starting to create the same kinds of things now, and you're seeing that throughout with Twitter introducing their, what's it called, their fleets, and you've got YouTube Shorts, you've got Instagram Reels, and you've got TikTok. Everyone's kind of trying to do the same thing right now. um, and they're actually helping you while you start using those programs. They're actually helping you hit those different algorithms and grow a little bit faster. I noticed a little bit of traction with our team when we started using Instagram Reels, where the same videos were struggling to do well on TikTok. They were doing pretty well on Reels, and we saw a little bit of a boost. And like Ronaldo said, it's hard to take care of all of those social medias. Even as somebody who has social media managers and are doing things like that, like just saying, okay, we need to take this video and again clip it and do this and do this and do this and do this, and then track all of that along the way, it can get pretty stressful. So I can imagine how a singular person would be doing that for themselves. Um, for us, Twitter's always been the most successful as a team. And now we're just starting to branch out into those other form content. I think our next step is YouTube for sure. I think it's necessary, and then we'll think about doing all the other ones slowly. Just it's very complicated to get started, but definitely for all the guys watching right now, start with one area, and then start consuming content in different areas to learn what is wanted by the audience on those specific platforms because they all want different things.
Mm. So I know we've been talking a lot about social media right now, and sort of the reason I bring this up is because I believe that a lot of content creators, their first sort of program or software that they're going to use to create content will actually be a social media app. So you have editing tools on TikTok, you have some basic editing tools on Instagram. And I just want to know, sort of when starting content creation, what programs did you guys start with, and sort of what are you using now? So maybe let's start with Llama. Yeah.
I don't edit my own stuff. I'm that's a good one, right?
I like
No, but
that.
I do have
Yeah.
background. I do have background in photography and videography. So for photography, obviously, I'm using Photoshop. Most of the time, my quick edits are done on Lightroom. just because it's quick, it's accessible, it's easy to export and get things sized to the way I want them. And a slept on app for photo creation is like Canva and Adobe Spark for quick,
Hmm.
cool looking images for your social medias. I think Canva is free. Spark is, I guess, it comes with the Creative Cloud. And then for video editing, um, for me, it's always been Premiere, but obviously there's free access to your DaVinci Resolves. But for me, Premiere, I have the Adobe Suite, so if I need to do a quick edit, I can do it there. I just downloaded Premiere Rush for my phone, so I'm giving that a shot for TikTok videos for the team as well. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Ronaldo, where, where did you start software wise, and like what are you using now?
So I dabble in film, photo, and music. Film was the biggest accident, to be honest. It was me just, my dad's a tech nerd, and whenever he bought a camera, I had a camera. So I used to just film on this tiny credit card sized Sony camera. And there was a time when I didn't edit at all. I would just take the raw footage. And in 2006, October, I still have YouTube videos. They're still there to this day. Raw footage, no edits. Eventually, I started to edit them. That was a Movie Maker. Bring it back, Windows.
Mm.
So Movie Maker was a free software that was included with Windows. Like I'm pretty sure it was XP, and then it ended around. I think I know it's not on Windows 10, so it ended between somewhere before Windows 10. I'm a big fan of using whatever is available to you, and I think with technology as it is right now, there's a lot of good ways to just get started. But that's on the video side. Primarily, as time passed, I did a lot of research to figure out what the best options were, both on Windows and Mac. So I ended up using a Mac and going Final Cut Pro 10, but that was years ago. On the Windows side, I would definitely recommend DaVinci Resolve 13, not as a starting point,
Uh,
unless you're clever enough to use YouTube tutorials and you're comfortable with that. But I'm honestly of the opinion that video editing is not the kind of thing that you should do casually on a computer. If you want to do casual video editing, the best experience is actually an iPad. Overall, iMovie on an iPad will get you your video editing skills to a point where you're going to hate doing it on an iPad. So now you have to do it on a computer. It's great though. Like it can do a lot. It can get you results. So whenever you are entering like a new hobby for content creation, just start with something that you can use like right away, because the learning curve is what matters, not the software. Your learning curve is what gets you the end result. There's too many options for software, right? And then for music, same story. Go get a free trial for anything, and there's lots of options. I'm an Ableton Live user myself. There's free trials that you can get when you buy certain products that are in the music realm. They just encourage you to use Ableton Live. So yeah, that's that's my recommendations for getting started.
That's awesome. You kind of jumped the gun a little bit, and I was gonna ask, like, does how important is the software that you're using? But I'm really of the same opinion. Um, Cole Koslix, yeah. What do you think? What softwares have you used, and is it important?
Mhm. So I want to state right away that like no matter what you do with the video, like you can get something that blows up. Like you can use any editing software, even raw footage. If it's good enough and it's unique and people like it, it
Yeah.
will blow up on the right platform. But I actually don't edit my own videos anymore. But
Hey,
when
another
I
one. All right.
started, yeah, back in like 2013, I posted Minecraft videos. I was like 12, 13 years old, and I posted about once a week. And I was doing the thumbnails myself and everything. And I first edited with the Apple iMovie HD, like that first one. It was very similar to Movie Maker. And then I switched over to ScreenFlow 4. It was like some Mac one. My dad got it for me. It's like $100 or something. I don't recommend it anymore, but it was what I started with. And then I got a Windows computer and I used this one's weird. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but it's called Cyberlink Power Director. I used that for a while. It was
Ooh,
very simple. So yeah, I
I've used
like
that
that.
before,
And
actually.
it's not bad. Like it's good for simple edits like Minecraft videos. And I was cheap. I used paint.net instead of Photoshop, and I still use paint.net to this day. I don't do a lot of things with like graphics and whatnot, but you know what? I get the job done, so it's fine. But now, if I'm going to recommend something, if you're brand new and you actually like tutorials and want to get into the scene, I personally like Adobe. Um, I don't edit. What's the name of the editing software again?
Premiere Pro, Premiere Pro.
Premiere Pro. Thanks. I literally don't edit. I have Premiere Pro. I've used it before. I know how to use it. I just don't use it very often. And then also the standard, if you have a Premiere Pro, just use Photoshop as well. But really, again, you could use anything. If you're on TikTok, just use the basic editor on TikTok. And if I'd also recommend, if you're getting new into it, make sure to use the most popular options, because then you'll have the most resources on how to use it. And it's more often than not going to be more simple than more complicated ones. You know,
TikTok really doesn't care about what your content looks like.
yeah, honestly.
They're like, oh, this is somebody shot this in their bathroom. Let's put it through the algorithm, and a million people are gonna view and like it.
So this
I don't think I've ever touched an editor on TikTok content.
it's a really good point, Chris, because earlier we're talking about different social media platforms and how there's different ways people use it. YouTube is so different from TikTok because on TikTok you can get away with low production value, rich content like entertainment value, right? On YouTube, that doesn't always fare so well because it's so populated with a bunch of other professionals who have really good production value and really rich content at the same time. But hey, if you're a TikTok user, barrier to entry is much lower on TikTok than on YouTube.
My views actually went down when I brought my production value up on TikTok.
Yep, yep,
Wow.
that can
It's
happen.
crazy. I went from
That's the
filming
audience there.
on a wood table with nothing, and now I have a ring light and a better phone and all the stuff and a studio setup, and no one cares.
Yep.
It's
I guess it's
actually
more real.
people
It's
do
more human.
care.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess it's a more human experience for them when it's just like a standard film. Like for me, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
opening pack for Pokemon, right? It's nothing crazy, but production value nobody cares about on that side. So they just want to see the cards.
You could also like build your brand around low quality. Like there's a YouTuber
Yep.
back in like 2016 called Grade A Under A. He used like 360p hand drawn, really goofy characters and whatnot, and it was so pixelated. But he was very good at talking and was funny and did content about drama and whatnot. And just like you could really build your brand around it. Like there's also memes where they just kind of up the base and you know if you are on TikTok or any platform, just people yelling into their Apple earbud microphones, and it's so bad, but
Oh
it's
man.
such kind of a meme. And as long as the content's enjoyable, people are going to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I'm just going to take this opportunity right now to drop our keyword. Llama, what is our keyword for this week?
The keyword tonight, guys, is content is king. I hope that's the right one. No, it is.
I hope you guys heard this. Content is king. All right. So with that, we're gonna go on a quick break, and we will be back with more on equipment that we can use for content creation. So hang tight, and we'll be right back.
Don't tell me that I need saving. Finally awake and living. Yeah, yeah. The pressure inside was building. I felt under attack, and now my mind's attacked, and I've chosen my path. I've chosen my path. Oh, what's this? I finally read this helplessness. Tired of feeling like I'm upside down. So I'm gonna turn it all around. And oh, and dear God, save my soul, 'cause it is flawed. Tired of feeling like I'm upside down. So I'm gonna turn it all around. Upside down. Upside down. Gonna turn it all around. Upside down.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I hope everyone had a nice little break there. All right, so diving right back into it, we were talking about equipment. So I want to know, um, maybe we'll start with Ronaldo. What do you think is the most important piece of equipment you need for content creation?
Most important. Well, in the world of content creation, everything's digital. So that's kind of the first thought I have with this question. Um, hmm. Now, assuming you have nothing, let's just say you have nothing, but you plan to film stuff on your phone, and now you're going to do video stuff. I think video is specifically has the most needs. It has the most demands when it comes to getting started. But you could use your phone and just start that way. However, you quickly come to a point where your phone's kind of the data and your storage needs are going to change a lot when you film in 4K. So I think it's going to come down to being able to back up your files. And if you ever enter film professionally and you have a client that you're working with and you don't back up your files and that hard drive decides to just pass away that night, you're about to lose that client forever. And you might even lose all their contacts because who knows what level of importance that project was to them. And when your data fails because of hard drive failure or a lack of backups, there's only one person to blame. So I think that's the one I would go with. Uh,
Mm.
Backup drives, it doesn't have to be expensive. There's way more options when you start to entertain what's available, excuse me, what's available at a professional level. But a simple external hard drive will get you going. Just back up your data, start there, and you can evolve over time. Maybe, yeah. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, maybe as you decide to pursue things more, because maybe you don't care as much. It's good you didn't invest too much into it, right? But if you do decide to take it further, there's a lot of other ways to back up your data. I'm a big fan of using RAID configurations, specifically RAID 1, if you're familiar with what that is. Just gives you multiple layers of data protection. Works great on your big chunky desktop drives. Maybe a Barracuda or two, maybe something by
Hey,
Seagate.
hey.
And uh, I use a few. I'm a big fan of just experimenting because you might think you know what you know, and then you realize years later that all you had to try was something different and takes you in a whole other path. So I'm gonna have to just completely say back up your data properly, and do that with a good hard drive, even an SSD, whatever you can get your hands on. Just make sure you keep your clients happy, and more importantly, keep yourself happy. Because what if that's your own like personal data that you just lost now? Like that's painful. Money can't buy that
Most
back.
definitely.
So that's my answer to that one.
So, all right, just to clarify for anybody in the academy that's listening, um, the most important piece of equipment that you need for content creation, storage. So it's right there. We're just going to clarify that. Yeah, Cole, Chris, what other pieces of equipment are important in content creation? Do you guys think? Let's start with Cole.
After you, Chris. Oh, okay, me. Okay,
Oh,
cool.
me first.
No, I was gonna say after you and delay, but anyways, if you're starting from nothing, like absolutely nothing, and you're like, hey, I want to get into content creation, honestly, any smartphone. A smartphone is kind of that all in one. It can kind of get you into any scene. It gives you access to every social media platform. You can play mobile games and screen record them, such as Brawlhalla. You can create TikToks and just, content and on video with friends, and that's super easy. And you already have a good enough camera to get started. It's kind of that all in one that's also pretty budget. You can go on eBay and probably get an iPhone 8 for what, under $200 now. And if you do want to get into it, I recommend doing that first, and that's on a budget. But if you are a content creator and you're looking to improve your content, and let's just say you're in the gaming space, you have a computer, maybe a cheap camera and whatnot, um, honestly, it's hard to decide what's most important for everyone. It really is a case by case. So for me, I spent $1,000 on a camera, and this camera also has like a pretty good autofocus that detects faces, and that's important for me because I'm moving around while playing games. I'll get in the zone, and it's very important for my audience to make sure they can see me, because I like it when people put my brand to my face just to get some facial interaction. But again, that's for me. If you're talking about another content creator, like if you're on TikTok or something, right, where maybe you aren't playing games, but you're focusing on, I don't know, let's say you have a camera and whatnot. Maybe it's a microphone, like an external microphone, because I know the internal mics on phones can be subpar depending on which one you have. So maybe that's the most important for you. Honestly, it's more just, I would just write down everything that you could upgrade if you had the chance, and then sort it and make a list on what's most important to you and go from there.
All right, Llama. So say you already have a PC, you have a PS4 or PS5 or an Xbox, and you're gaming. What other sort of like additionals do you need on top of that to get into content creation?
One thing that's slept on, and I'm happy that no one answered here, is lighting. Lighting is
Yes.
so important when it
Mhm.
comes to your
Nah,
content
nah,
creation.
you don't need that stuff.
No, no. Let me just turn
I'm
my light
kidding.
off.
I'm kidding. I'm totally joking.
Let me turn my lights off real quick.
But yeah, if we're not lit properly on screen and it's dark and it's hard to see, people are probably not going to be wanting to watch it. And number two, it actually brings up the value of your content because it's not going to be pixelated. Um, you don't want your cameras working harder to pick up or the picture in the screen and the ISO and all of that. We don't have to go into photography class right now, but if your sensors work overworking, your images are going to be pixelated, and you can see just with Cole's camera there, like look how clear it is. He's got good lighting. It's even lighting. He doesn't look like he's sweating like I do, and
I can
he's
though.
got a high quality camera. There you go. Look at the difference there.
Yeah.
So and you have to play with the lighting too, and you have to learn what works for your setup and how it's going to light you and how it's going to look, and that will enhance the quality. So those four things that we talked about: storage, uh, I can't even remember, storage, camera, microphones. You can get a good lav mic on Amazon. You can get a good ring light. All of this we can do under a couple of $100, and it'll make your content go from down here all the way up to, and then one day you'll be like Cole here, who's got that little plaque
Here,
behind him.
to
The
Chris's point.
YouTube play button.
That is
To
my
Chris's
biggest
point
flex.
for a moment.
Definitely.
There's a very dark room I'm in. There's one light source that's reflecting off my ceiling to create what's called a diffuser. And then a second light source on the
Beauty.
other side, which is exactly what Chris is talking about, to allow for your hardware to do a better job rather than stress itself out with bad lighting.
He's
My
doing it
favorite light that
right.
you yeah, my favorite light that you didn't even show is this one right here. It's called a window, and it's free most of the time. So if you guys don't have access to lights, and you don't want to spend, I think $20 for the light panels that I have, and you have a window accessible, backlight and or back, what's the rule? Backlight front fill. Um, get that window in front of you and put your camera there and shoot, and you're actually probably going to get some real good quality content.
If you really
And
want
if
to
I
stay on
can,
budget, oh, sorry about that. I was gonna say I've got a $10 lamp. I swear to God, it's. Wait a second.
We're all showing off
Let
our
me
lights
try
right
and-
now.
Yeah.
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 Let's see, can this turn? There we go. Do you see the lamp? Literally just
Oh, it's
pointing.
beautiful.
Yeah,
wow.
there it
It's
is.
Okay.
just a
Okay.
lamp. Yeah.
It's a fill light just for
IKEA
the
people.
face.
Professional lighting right here. Yeah.
You don't
Well, you
have to
nailed it.
blow your budget. You don't have to go overboard.
Hmm.
And something that I wanted to add, especially if you're streaming, in my opinion, I think we talked a lot about picture, but Llama brought up a little bit. I think the microphone is very underrated, especially if you are thinking about streaming. A lot of the time, I think you will be showing gameplay footage, and your face cam will be, pretty small in the corner, maybe, and it can definitely you can change the scene and take up the whole screen. But most of the time, you will probably be showing gameplay. So, in that regard, you just want to make sure that people are hearing your voice clearly, that it's not really poor quality, that they're not getting static or any other sort of background noise, and it's pleasant to listen to for long periods of time. Especially with streaming, they do tend to be very long, right? So I think if you're looking at an item to upgrade for streaming, I think the first thing you should go for is a microphone. So yeah. And we're getting sort of into some streaming and stuff like that. So maybe this will transition us a little bit into personal branding. So Cole, I would love to get your opinion on sort of how how you've branded yourself using sort of the assets that you have. I know you touched on it a little bit before, but what were you thinking when you sort of started the Costlix brand?
So when I started, I took into account what I'm good at, and as I said earlier about those competitive advantages, and then just kind of wrote them down on a list and just shaped myself around that. My logo, I don't know if anyone in the chat has seen my logo. I'm sure some of you have, but it's a C, but then it also has a little like rocket thing underneath it, and that's because for Brawlhalla, I play one weapon only, and it's called Rocket Lance. So I kind of tied into that competitive advantage of me being the best Lance player in the world, and then putting that and shaping it around my actual brand. And eventually, Brawlhalla is either going to die or I'm going to get big enough where I want to switch to the next Fortnite, for instance. But just because I did that little Rocket Lance thingy doesn't mean that like my brand is only around that. Like you could take that logo and put it anywhere and it would still fit. It's not like I'm actually using the Brawlhalla logo within my logo. It's not game specific, but it mentions what I'm good at, and everything I do shapes around that competitive Lance type of player. And also last year, I went a little bit further and I shaped all my content around being a competitive player. But last year, around when the pandemic started, so like April, May, I actually shifted my content to more enjoyable ideas rather than actual competitive play. So an example of this is my most recent video is actually a parody of Daily Dose of Internet. I called it Daily Dose of Brawlhalla, and it's just me showing some of the coolest clips and whatnot. So I'm not necessarily going away from competitive play, but again, everything stems from it and then slowly start to expand and try new things and find what works, find what doesn't work, and then keep going from there. And that's kind of how I built my brand.
Mhm. So a little bit different. I think we can get a little bit of a different perspective from Chris, who has built a person, not only a personal brand, but sort of separate brands, many multiple brands. So, what do you think is important in starting a brand? What do you need to think about?
For me, it's always been community. Um, and I guess because we're teams, it's having that welcoming community for people to join and feel comfortable when they're joining these communities, especially with the academy level here. When we started the Shield Academy, this is for players who are entering the scene who don't know what they're doing, and they want to learn about either a game or how to create content or um, pretty much anything. Just maybe be welcome into a community, join a team that's easy to join, and then work their way up to those goals where they want to one day play for FaZe or maybe get signed to Obey. So I had to plug that one in there.
Oh, wait. Got the
Nice.
champion drop.
Humble
Yeah.
brag right there.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
And
love it.
then with that, and the other thing too is obviously about the development side. So we develop our players and we develop our communities into that top tier eventual. And while we're doing that, it's just again we're working and connecting with these people, and then we're leveraging those communities on our social medias, and that helps with the sponsorships and all that other jazz that goes along with this crazy industry. So for me, yeah, it's community.
Definitely. The community is a very important aspect of building a brand or building anything, right? You need a community behind you that enjoys your content, that can get you going and growing. All right. So I think we covered a lot of topics here. I would like to, get into a Q&A maybe. So I'd love if anyone, if everyone out there, if you have a question for us, if you have a question for Costlix, if you have a question from Ronaldo from Memory Express, if you have a question from Chris from Parabellum, please drop it in the chat, and we will answer some of these guys. So going through the chat here.
I have a thought here. Actually, it was about
All
Chris's
right.
lighting response. There is
Yes,
a
let's talk about
single
lighting.
The
sentence that I
window.
use. I just got to go back. I got to go back to it for a moment because it's so powerful. Tons of people come up to me and ask, "Okay, I got a $2,000 budget. What should I buy?" I don't tell them to spend it on 2,000 to spend it on a camera. I tell them buy a $1,500 camera and buy $500 worth of lighting because now your camera is worth so much more to you. But most people don't think that way because they forget how the camera itself is bottlenecked by lighting in the same way a
Yeah.
heat will bottleneck your CPU in your computer.
Yeah.
You're really limiting your potential with bad lighting and a great camera. Your end result's going to be much worse than an okay camera with amazing lighting.
It's like
I would
Right.
your
add
parents
if
when they have their phone and they're going to take a picture and they're like, "Why is it so pixelated?" And you're taking the picture in a crap room and you take the
Yeah,
phone outside and you take a
Mhm.
picture and it's nicely lit. And
it's
they're like, "Oh,
amazing.
how'd your picture get so good?" It's because of the lighting outside, and it
Exactly.
makes your sensor not have to work as hard, and it looks good in the long term. So
I would
I see
add in
some
your example,
questions.
you said you had
Oh
two
yeah,
thousand
we got
Go ahead.
dollars,
questions now.
spend 1,500 for a camera. But if I had $2,000 to spend, I wouldn't spend 1,500 on a camera. I would spend like the minimum amount to get like a Sony Alpha series camera. You can get a Sony A50, I think 5,100 for like $500, and then let's say you use a couple hundred for lighting, then you also have money for microphone, and then maybe you can upgrade your computer, or you can get a bigger desk and have more room, or like a boom stand for your microphone, stuff like that. And it's
Yeah.
just all adds up into one.
Just
For
remember that
sure.
the camera alone, you're still going to need accessories, and
Yeah.
those accessories are necessary, like multiple batteries. What if you got to shoot outdoors? I didn't want to get into the details, so I was just generalizing, but think in terms of the bigger, not bigger picture, but the whole picture for what you need right now, not in 2 years or 3 years. Account for as much as you can, or ask Cole what he thinks you should start with. So, yeah.
We might have to
All
put a
right, cool.
Cole's
So
list of items.
we have a
Just
couple
put my
questions
screenshot
in
up.
the chat here that I just want to make sure we address before we run out of time. But we have one from one Emil. Let's say you make a video and it blows up. How can I keep the momentum and have similar results in the future? Do we have any volunteers to answer this one?
I can answer it. I can answer it if you really want. I will
All
say
right.
that question is what every YouTuber wants to answer, and it is one of the hardest questions to answer. Um, Building momentum on a platform is very difficult, and keeping that is equally as difficult. I can get one shout out from Mr. Beast, but for me to have that audience, that same audience, or even like a tenth of the audience a year from now is incredibly difficult. To answer that question, I like to look at other YouTubers. So there's one guy who was like Mr. Beast's 5 million subscriber. His name is Tyler Oliveira, and his content stems around playing or like being in like a tiger cage for 24 hours. I think when the big Chungus meme happened, he sold it to GameStop. I think a couple people saw that. And the thing is, he created one video that was apart from Mr. Beast, and that blew up. Then he tried a couple things similar to it, and his first video came out okay, maybe only 50,000 views when the last one had a million, so not great. Tried again, maybe 100,000, but he tried his absolute best, and he did something similar but different enough for it to gain traction. So it really depends on which video blows up, but definitely just trying your best and finding why do people like this video, and that reason needs to be very similar if not identical to the next video that blows up, because it's going to be. So like if people are like, oh my god, Big Chungus being sold to GameStop, that's crazy. What if you sold like one of his videos is like selling like a Pokemon ROM hack to GameStop and did like some stupid, cover art for it that was clickbait. But then that video blew up. And it's like, okay, so it's very similar, but just slightly different. So just keeping momentum, but knowing why your audience clicks on it in the first place is very important.
Mm. That's a fantastic, fantastic answer. Next question we have from Harsunder. I have a very bad PC. could I still make a video even though I have bad gameplay for my viewers? So do we have any volunteers for this one? Yeah, what do you do if your PC is maybe not the best out there and you have to play on low quality settings? Llama, any ideas?
So I'm gonna reread that again. Oh, that's a good question, for sure. Do you mind somebody who's more inclined with the PC side of gaming might be a better
With
person
the
That's a
for
good
this
PC.
one.
I
idea.
don't know if we have full PC gamers here, but Ronaldo, I don't know if
Yeah,
you're a
for sure.
PC gamer
Sure.
either. Do
Yeah,
you have any
yeah,
insight for him?
for sure. So Harsundar, the first thing I would ask is, with that particular game you're referring to, does everyone else have high quality content already for it? If the answer is yes, then you're technically going to have to compete with what they create and the current standard that the audience already expects from this game title. But in general, the answer is yes. You can still do what you're setting out to do to create videos with a slow PC. The downside you're going to run into is just wait time. So even older computers, you can still do video editing on them, but the main challenge is how much time are you willing to let that computer be stuck doing video editing stuff, such as exporting. If you're unfamiliar with export times, you're going to be in for a long, long time. And like a 1 minute 1080p video with a really old computer could take well into 10 minutes just to export a 1 minute file. So if that's the kind of setup that you have, then that might be an expectation moving forward. But in short, it can be done. It just comes at a cost, which is your time and frustration, I might have to admit, because you might wait an hour for an export and then at 99, 98%, it crashes. You just have to roll with it, try again. Um, or maybe drop your resume off at Memory Express. But the, the idea that you have, you can do it. But I would first look into the game titles and see what everyone else is doing, and then second, determine whether it's worth it or not for you to pursue with that PC hardware.
It was a nice little
Can I
plug
Awesome.
there.
also can I
Yeah.
add? I just want to add on top of that. You could actually create content that isn't necessarily, because in the question it mentions gameplay. So if you're really, I'd say almost like tunnel vision into only doing gameplay, it's going to be extremely difficult. But you can make content on almost any resolution or anything, and you can just lower the resolution, make the videos shorter, and it can be so bad that it's actually good. And you see that often, like
Yeah,
the
you
room,
you
for
own it,
instance.
right?
Yeah,
Embrace
exactly. You own
how
it, you
bad
turn
it
it
can
into a
be.
comedy, build it around your brand, and then as you start getting views and whatnot, monetize it, make some money, and anytime you get money, put it right back into that content. Either get a bit better computer or just upgrade things that you need to. One thing that Mr. Beast did is he used to film on like an iPhone 4, but every single dollar he puts into YouTube and gets back, he puts it right back in, is what I'm trying to say. So he'll like make $10. Well, how can I spend that $10 to make my stuff better? He'll make $10,000. How can I use the $10,000 to make it better? He didn't really pocket. He pocketed as little as possible, and you can see that in his videos now. This guy's what, giving out $10,000 every single gaming video, $1 million and 100,000 for finger on the app. It's just, it starts off slow, and maybe you only make $1 or $2. But again, if you're at that point, just keep putting back into it, and there's ways to make money from nothing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Reinvest in yourself, and you'd be surprised too that your audience, your viewers, um, love to see that you're taking that money that they may be donating or subscribing or whatever it is, and you're putting it back to good use for it's for their viewing pleasure. It's for their entertainment. So yeah, reinvest in yourself, reinvest in your brand, and you'll be successful for sure. It's going to take a long time for any of us to be the next Mr. Beast, but
Mm-hmm.
um, you also, that's the other thing too. Not only are you waiting for your videos to render, your growth isn't going to happen overnight. So you need to have that patience and be willing to wait the long game and just keep working on things until we get those viral videos or those viral things that happen. You guys helped
For
me
sure.
create an answer in my head.
All right, we have time for one more question from Lightning 7319. Let's say if you blow up on one game, is it worth trying new things out and playing a different game? So what are your guys' thoughts on this? Just I guess Cole, do you ever think about switching up
Yeah,
games?
for sure. Recently, I posted a guide on Valheim because I saw that game was popping off. And one thing I've learned, and I'm still early in my career, I'm learning and things change. But as of right now, I believe that you should ride a game as long as you can. But once you see any type of decline, switch with the industry. So at the top of Brawlhalla right now, there's other creators such as Sandstorm or Boomy and Shorpy, and eventually Brawlhalla is going to slow down. And I'm going to look at my peers and see what they do because we share a very similar audience. And it's just kind of understanding how do you keep that audience when you eventually do make a switch. And making a switch randomly is a little bit unhealthy because then you're essentially dividing that audience. And then people are going to watch Brawlhalla, and then what they need to search up Valheim to watch you just because they like you. It's risky and it isn't super smart, but eventually the day is going to come where you're going to have to switch games. And if done properly, like the H1Z1 switch to Fortnite is a great example. When Fortnite was building up, we saw Tfue, Ninja, Symphony, I think, and I think a couple more. They're all from H1Z1, but they all made that switch together, and eventually they just shared that audience, and it kickstarted them to the top of Fortnite. So I just look at your peers. If you are a YouTuber and you want to switch, don't do it randomly. Make sure you know when to, and it's all about the timing is the most important factor.
Timing.
Yes, I like the slow changeover. I do the first thing I think about when you do that is like with a dog. Like you have to wean the dog off of a food if you want to change it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than your audience. You have to wean your audience off of that game, and it's going to take time, and you're going to lose audience, but you also might gain new audience at the same time. And you're opening a whole new door to things. And yeah, so when Cole decides that it's time to move on to a new game, I think he's going to be successful because he's built his audience to enjoy his content and him as a person and as a brand, as opposed to the game that he's playing. People will drop off because they're Brawlhalla fans, but there's going to be a lot more Costlix fans that are going to stick around. So making sure that that is communicated too. It's like, I'm not going anywhere, my game is going somewhere. We're going to try something new for a bit, see how it sticks. And then eventually we might be going towards this direction of this new game. And it's kind of the same when we did a massive brand change recently, right? You have to understand that not everyone's going to stick around. They've got that they love Brawlhalla. They're going to watch Brawlhalla until the last Brawlhalla streamer is ever around. Um, and then eventually, hopefully, they'll come back to Costlix because they love them.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
I
All right.
completely agree with both of you here. That's solid.
Yeah.
I actually want to combine one email and Lightning's question because they're very similar. I'm going to make a quick
Okay.
point here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Follow the industry was kind of cool as like underlying message here that I want to build on top of. When something blows up, it can actually be categorized in three ways by design, which is not the majority. If you design virality, you're a rare like component of this industry, but it is possible. The large majority is by external factors. So you can find someone like, let's just say Justin Bieber's your friend. Hey Bieber, can you post this on Twitter for me? He's gonna say yes. Boom, there's your external explosion into virality. And then there's the non-controllable factors, the random possibilities. So that's like the algorithms for software, pop culture, just all the other factors that you have no control over. Usually you're going to blow up for one of these three reasons. And in the question that email asks is like, what do you do? Like, how do you do that? Well, if it happens by accident and you can't figure out where it went viral, then you just got to admit that it happened and you got lucky. But can you do it again? Yeah. Now you just got to define. Are you going to do it by design? You're going to use your external factors, like maybe your contacts, or are you going to just do it by luck and hope it happens? So I think the industry side, what Cole is talking about, is part of the external factors. You don't have to look at it as uncontrollable, because when Valheim picked up, it was very obvious that it was going to become a big deal, at least for a while. We can't say for how long, but there's content,
Right.
rich content now being made by Valheim players, and everyone's sharing it. So that's now an external factor that can lead to viral content or that big blow up opportunity. And then switching games, totally agree with the guys as well here. You're going to lose your audience if you're switching entirely, especially if you cold turkey it. I myself, I play one game. That's it. That's all I care about. Street Fighter is all I play. So when streamers do a variety of games, I'm only showing up for Street Fighter. So you got to think about your audience in the same way. Because the moment you stop playing your main title, you might actually be losing more than half your audience who's watching you and loyal to you for only one game title or one reason. But I do think that you can totally switch games, but you want to pay attention to those external factors, like what's the industry telling us. Um,
Mm.
like Final Fantasy was huge last year. It's kind of died down now, but everyone streamed that. Like that was, who knows? That was like a 3 month period where everything was about Final Fantasy VII remake. So it doesn't last forever, but knowing what the industry's up to and following that is the safer bet rather than cold turkey out of nowhere.
I just
Yes.
want to
Don't
quickly
cold
touch on
turkey.
one more thing now.
Sure.
We can this can go on for hours, right? We can continue talking
It
about
Oh
can.
different
yeah.
things too. But one thing
Mhm.
that you did bring up, Ronaldo, there that I absolutely like, that brought an extra thing to my mind was, you talked about you're only going to come to that one game, right? So if we are deciding on changing a game, if we are doing specific things, or we're a multi-streamer, whatever it is, your schedule is so important. So that I'm going to schedule my games. Monday, Tuesday, I'm going to play Rocket League. On Wednesday, I'm going to play Street Fighter. So now Ronaldo knows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m., he's going to be coming to my stream. And I can communicate with my audience when I'm doing what. And then I'm going to retain those people for that specific night. Um, I'm a schedule guy. Alex knows for a fact. If it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist. And if I can communicate that to my audience, they're more than likely going to be joining for that specific night. I can randomly go live on a certain night with something and I might get a couple of viewers. But if I told everyone in advance, hey, I'm playing Rocket League tomorrow night, 7 p.m., and it's in my Twitch all the time, my Rocket League fans are going to know, and it's going to be better, and it's communication, and people love that. And just stick stick to your guns and do what you do best, and then again, trial by error or whatever you got to do. If you want to try new things, go for it, and just where you guys are probably all so young still, so just give it a go, see what works.
Yeah, dive in. You're gonna make some mistakes. You're gonna, get some things right, and that's how you grow and learn. That's what we're all here for. So, all right. Just to wrap things up, we do have a giveaway to do. So this is the exciting part right here. It is a $200 gift card to Memory Express. So Ronaldo, if
Wow.
you'd like to tell the people what they could do with this $200, who is Memory Express? What can they do with this gift card?
For sure. So if you haven't heard of Memory Express before, we consider ourselves a premium PC retailer here in Canada. And the reason we refer to ourselves as premium is because you can expect expertise from any of our locations regarding PC hardware and electronics. So today's giveaway is a retail store gift card. So I do have to clarify it is for retail
Ooh.
stores only, but it does give you access to the entire catalog. You can use it on any product and it's completely open to you. And I do have a winner. Should we announce that? Is that what we're doing, Alex?
Yes. Yes.
Ooh.
So maybe we can get a little bit of a drum roll here. I don't know. Yeah. All right.
Just banging my chair.
All right, and let us announce the winner. The winner is actually, by Ronaldo's choice, the first person to have asked asked a question when we were asking for sort of the Q&A portion, and that person is actually 1 Emil. So 1 Emil, if you can reach out to Northern Shield, congratulations, you have $200 to Memory Express. Put that towards your content creation, maybe, and yeah, let's level up that content, right?
Thank you,
Buy
One
some light.
Emil, for being the first to ask a question. We really want to encourage interactivity, so maybe keep that in mind if you ever watch an esports tournament on Twitch.
All right. So that's all the time we have for today. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I want to thank Chris, Cole, and Ronaldo for joining us and sharing those insightful comments and dropping some knowledge. So thank you guys so much, and we will catch you guys next week.
Not again.
Stop waiting. Get in the game. Speed, capacity, all in one drive. Seagate Fire CUDA.
I think I'm gonna touch it.
It's how you play the game. watch you stare. I would watch you stare. Oh, but there's no one there. We can figure this out. Put your feet down. We are the lucky ones. Swallow your choice, it's done. Terrified of what's left remains unsaid until you break my mind. Till you break my mind. Until you break my thought. Till you break my thought. I'm throwing wishes in the wild in hopes that you will keep them for yourself. And know that there was a time